we've raised to date, tell them,
We raised to date over $500,000 for great causes with my art.
for
Oh.
wheelchairs, hearing aids, scholarships.
Summer camps.
Yeah, a lot of money has been raised with Grant's art. We donate his art to great causes. Grant will help them sell it. He'll get on stage, and he's actually one of the highlights of one of our nights, and he sold the piece for $30,000. Yeah,
What?
so he's raised a lot of money to help his friends, and we help others.
Welcome back to A Mother's Guide Through Autism podcast. I'm Bridget Shipman, your host, and today I'm going to be speaking to Julie Coy and Grant Maniér. Grant, who lives with autism, is an exceptional eco-artist known for unique and meaningful works of art using recycled materials. Julie is an author of children's books that feature characters with disabilities and were inspired by the art her son Grant creates. They're going to share their story of creativity, advocacy, empowerment, and success. So if you want to feel inspired and know how to empower your child living with autism, keep listening. Welcome back to Mother's Guide Through Autism podcast. I am so excited. You all heard the beautiful introduction with our guest today, Julie and Grant. So I'd really like to know who you are, what you do, and also how you got here.
Well, that's a journey of 29 years.
Mhm.
It's a big question.
Yeah, and a long story, but we'll keep it short. My name is Julie Coy. I'm actually known as the Stay in Action Mom because I've taken Grant and others with autism and disabilities. I've taken them from can't do to can do. And today, Grant is 29 years old. He's an award-winning artist. He's an award-winning illustrator. He's a voiceover actor, and he's pursuing a career in animations here at Fond du Lac College, Moraine Park College. We are from Texas, so you may notice Grant's accent more than mine. You may notice our accent, but we are in Wisconsin. We've been here for 3 years. We moved from Houston, Texas after COVID because at that point, everything closed down. There was no art business, no presentation, nothing. We had online business, not as busy as it used to be because of COVID, but we managed. But when we were offered this opportunity, we just said, hitch up the wagon, let's go. And we moved to Wisconsin. However, that's been a journey in itself. When we were in Texas, Grant was hacking a lot. He was always coughing at that one point during COVID. And we thought, pollen, because pollen in Houston is bad.
Mhm.
And, we got him to urgent care. They thought allergies too. No, we just thought what he showed, just signs of allergies. But when we got to Wisconsin, got the insurance changed over and everything, Grant was diagnosed with cancer, almost stage 3 Hodgkin lymphoma cancer. That shocked everything. And we were asked, people saying, come back, come back. However, the move was done, the insurance was done, and we lived half a mile from the cancer center here in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. And they took care of my Grant. He is healthy. It's been 3 years. He's healthy again. And I'll have to tell you, it was such a remarkable journey because I expected the worst and nothing happened. He had chemotherapy. He never got sick. He never lost his hair. I kept thinking after one chemo, it's going to happen now. It never happened. And we share that story because maybe somebody out there will be diagnosed and they can remember our story because it's rare, but it does happen. Some people do not struggle at all. And we thought if we had just heard that story, we may not have been so scared, but we're strong together. And we had a huge following of people help us because I quit my job, no money coming in. But after 15 years of being in business and GoFundMe, people stepped up and bought art, whether if it was $25 worth of art, even the college bought art from Grant and books. And the highest bid that we received was $20,000 for an art piece from Grant. So we survived cancer and we survived financially, mentally, and physically. And now here we are today and we're ready to rock and roll.
That's right.
So that has been our journey moving to Fond du Lac. And like I said, he's an award-winning artist. We have our books. We have a new book coming out. We have a book in Spanish about Grant, and I'll share that within the interview as well.
Wow, that is powerful. And by the way, when we had a little chat before I hit the record button, I could tell this was going to be a dynamic interview. Just simply both your energy together is very powerful. You're right. Grant, did you want to add anything to what your mom just told? That I know that's a hard act to follow because that was pretty powerful.
She did mention a lot of the key factors that we've been going through in our lives. But to start, I want to introduce myself first. I am Grant Maniér, and I am known as the eco-friendly artist because I reduce, reuse, recycle, then I upcycle paper materials to create beautiful eco art masterpieces. This is some of the
Oh,
artwork that I've made over the years.
These are
beautiful.
prints. These are prints.
Those are
Those
just
are
yes, those are
prints.
just prints.
Yeah, we have a couple of originals we can show you.
Okay, well, for those of you that are doing this on audio, you're going to want to go to the YouTube channel and see Grant's artwork. Print or original, from where I'm sitting, it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you very much.
You're very
It
welcome.
always makes my day when I hear people say that.
Well, I can imagine.
Motivated.
Exactly.
Yes, well, it's beautiful. So you're doing this artwork. You're both very resilient. So thank you so much for sharing your story, because when you share it, you do help other people and encourage them. So thank you.
Well, we should thank you for allowing us to share our story with you today.
Oh, my honor completely. Before we get back into the topic of art, which I'm pretty excited about, I would love to take you back a little to talk about when Grant was first diagnosed with autism. And if you don't mind, just sharing some of your initial struggles, especially as a single mom.
Okay. So I thought about this and I thought, let's take it back to where we didn't even know it was autism. So I was married. Grant was 3.5 years old, showed lots and lots of signs of anxiety and just a lot of anxiety, hyper anxiety, couldn't stand the vacuum cleaner, strangers, or in Texas, we have a lot of crows. So he didn't like the crows. He thought the birds were laughing at him. We went through a lot. Grant would run away, and he was echolalic, so he talked a lot, but gibberish. So all this was happening in the dynamics of the marriage, and we didn't understand it, which you think I would understand autism because I worked with severe autistic people in Washington State. But that's all I knew was severe. We were relatively new with high functioning autism. One, we didn't have Google, so I couldn't research anything. This was the year 2000 or 1998, 99. And so girlfriends would give me information about this high functioning autism. And by the way, Time magazine had on their front cover 2 beautiful looking children on the front cover, but they had that, nobody's home look.
Yeah.
And the word autism with a question mark. So it was so new. However, Temple was always out there teaching, but we didn't know Temple at the time either. So we were divorced. A divorce did occur, which is a very high statistic range in the autism families. We were divorced when Grant was 4, but it also gave me time to help Grant instead of focusing so much on that side of town. I could focus on Grant. And so I did. Now, thank goodness I had a medical background and understood psychology and the human mind. So I got some help for him. We got the diagnosis when he was 6 years old. I am the parent that didn't panic or didn't get upset. I was the parent, and there are many of us like that will say, finally, I can help him. I know where to go from here, or at least I know what direction we can go from here, as opposed to disciplining him. But I was like, okay, great, I got it. We can go from here. And he'd get therapy and whatever. And when I mean discipline, it was more like, be quiet. But we managed. So that's how our journey began, because we have those early resources that the parents have now, which is wonderful. And we're there to help them and encourage them in the way we had to find out. So that is my journey with autism. And then I got a job. I needed a job because now I'm divorced. I got a job at an autism school. I said, I know this, I know autism. What I didn't know, this was a high functioning school for autism. And when I saw those kids that first week, Grant was in public school, I was working at a private school. I said, oh my gosh, this is Grant. And then I put two and two together. I had no idea. I feel so ignorant now. But my supervisor got Grant into school because, the public school kept calling me to come get Grant because, the thunder was coming. And Grant was very sensitive to thunder and rain and wind. And of course, we're talking Texas. So we got him into this private school. Now, mind you, I'm just a teacher's aide. So they found ways to keep Grant there. And he flourished for 3.5 years at Westview School in Houston, Texas. They found Grant and they taught me about autism. And we just kind of been going from there. And we've always wanted to pay back what people have done for us. So that's our journey of early autism. And then Grant showed art skills very early on, even before school. I knew Grant was great at art, but I didn't know it was a business I could create for Grant. So yeah, and then he would win awards at the school. It just was a wonderful journey, even as a single mom, where I could peek through the windows at school where Grant was in class. And I just knew he was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. Yeah, that's wonderful. And I know that you're extraordinary at art, Grant. You're an eco artist who creates unique and meaningful work. How did this come about? What inspired you? How do you do this beautiful work?
Well, to start at how this all came about, like my mom said, I just love art. And I've been loving art for my whole life, ever since I was a child. When I was in school, I would just love to draw on paper, whether it was coloring on paper, drawing with pencil, or even, tearing paper as well. I just love paper. But how all of this came to be, it all began as a homeschool art project. I was homeschooled, I was doing my classes online, and I was doing them so well and so fast. I had all this free time on my hand, and so I watched a lot of TV. Mom did not like that idea, so she decided to add art back into my curriculum. And she went and bought out all hundreds of dollars worth of paint. And when I was about to start, I just couldn't get myself, I just couldn't feel that
painter's
drive.
block.
Yes, I just didn't feel that drive for paint like I did when I was a child. But I remembered what I learned back then in that school for autism was how to collage, working with paper to make art. So I tried that. And from working like that, I created my first piece, the Sun God. I showed this to Mom and she said,
I love it.
and just by making that one art piece, I made another and another. And then her friends started taking notice of this and they were asking if they can buy some of my art. Mom got to working and dealing with them. And then just from that alone, my art has just started to evolve into the business that it is today. And to answer your other question on what inspires me, a lot of things inspire me. People inspire me as well. My mother is a prime example of inspiration. She always gives me some really interesting ideas to try, but places that I've seen or heard of, like Mount Rushmore, also give me ideas as well. And animals even give me inspiration as well. For example, this horse here, in real life, this is a horse I ride for autism therapy. Well, let me correct that. I rode him for autism therapy at the time. His name is Donjo the Appaloosa. Really good horse.
Yeah, beautiful. I know you probably get this all the time, Grant, but I cannot go further without saying, wow, it is extraordinary. And I'm so glad you're sharing this. And so your mom inspires you, animals
Yes.
inspire you, different
Oh, yes.
scenic
Traveling.
traveling. Yeah.
And at this point with the Sun God, I was asked by a friend if she could buy the original. And we were so excited. So we thought, she had asked me, and then that conversation was left on the table for Grant and I to decide. And we thought, oh, what do you think? $50, $100? What should we sell it for? It was an 18 by 24. And that conversation didn't go any further because we just got busy with life. And 6 years later, we were building the business. And Grant was doing very well, winning grand championships at the rodeo, winning best of show, winning, art hanging in the US Capitol, just kept winning. And I didn't want to sell originals. We sold a lot of prints to help us out in his tuition, but I didn't want to sell originals because that's it. One of a kind. That's it. Well, we got hit by Hurricane Harvey. And so we had no jobs, nothing coming in. And I know there are times you just have to do what you have to do. And I sold that piece not for $100. I sold it for $8,500.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sold another one for $6,000 at the same time. He was at that point, except in 2021, we had our first $20,000 sale. So it has just kept snowballing bigger and bigger, which is a goal as a parent. What are we going to do to help them with their future? Because
Yes.
though Grant seems like he's all put together, he still has his anxieties. He still is learning to drive.
Yeah.
You know, he's never been in a relationship. He's still learning. Every time he says he messes up on stage, I'm like, well, then that just tells him, you know, you're not perfect. We have to work on these things. So yeah, the art business Grant has supported me since he was 15 years old.
With your extraordinary talent. So that has got to feel good, Grant.
It really does. It always feels good to help, whether
Yeah.
it's my mother or even those in need as well.
We've raised to date, tell him.
We raised to date over $500,000 for great causes with my art.
For
Oh.
wheelchairs, hearing aids, scholarships.
Summer camps.
Yeah, a lot of money has been raised with Grant's art. We donate his art to great causes. Grant will help them sell it. He'll get on stage, and he's actually one of the highlights of one of our nights, and he sold the piece for $30,000. Yeah,
What?
so he's raised a lot of money to help his friends, and we help others. We always want to help. Because people
Well,
That's right.
that's why you're both just very special. Grant, so we talked about your artwork, and when you first took an interest in art, both of you can chime in here. Like, what were really some key signs that you were just like, yeah, this is it?
the rodeo.
Okay, winning the grand champion at the rodeo, the Austin rodeo,
His first
2 years in a row.
entrance into a contest, and we walk up to this piece, which was the horse, and we see this big ribbon on it, but we're not quite sure what it says yet. We got up there and it said grand champion. So imagine being 15 and you just beat everybody out of the art competition. And from there, teachers, you know, because we worked at Westview School and we knew teachers, they wanted Grant to teach classes. So I'm like, okay, we will do what we can. And we did that. And I remember he had a few other classes, and I would only charge $150 for us to go in there with everything. And when we bring in a show, Grant, he did very well with the students. And I thought to myself, what if I can make a business out of this for Grant? So we thought part-time business, why not? Well, now it's an overtime business. We work overtime. But so we did. So that now the last show we just did in Waterloo, Iowa, I charged $2,500 for Grant to be speaker, artist, bring in a display. We bring in the art. So we bring in a show, you know.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And gonna figure out how to get you to Arkansas here when we're done.
Love it. Love it.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, you just have no idea what all I have in store. So that is how it all began. That's the interest, and becoming a professional artist evolve. So tell us now about your book series.
Okay. And we want to let you know, when did we know Grant was a professional artist?
Yeah.
I knew I became a professional when Dr. Temple Grandin said I was one.
Oh, let's just take a moment for that to sink in. Whew.
Yeah. Now we have a little video. Do we play it and she
I
plays it
can't
later? Okay, we share it later. Okay.
Yeah, I can't
that's
share the
fine.
screen, so we'll email it to her later.
Yes, we have a small video when Temple said Grant's pro now, and we're like, okay, he's pro now. Even though at that point we're selling his art in the thousands of dollars, we don't know when he's a pro. Grant says our checkbook doesn't say so yet.
Well, I think that is a really tough rubric, right? Because from what I have seen so far, I would absolutely say yes.
And Grant would say that when other people set up his art and break it down, then he's pro.
Yep.
But let us show you a couple of his originals and what that looks like. This one, you go ahead and hold it. This is what Grant would call his jewelry collection. Bring it in. His jewelry collection. Grant works with puzzles. He's known as the puzzle artist and what he does with puzzle.
That is so beautiful.
Every puzzle has a purpose.
It does.
So that's one. Get the one behind the tree.
I love the butterflies. Obviously, you can see I love butterflies.
Oh, we have people recycle and send us stuff and let us know they have more for us. And, I go to thrift shops, garage sales, and Grant, he's with me. He's learning his art, his craft, because he doesn't drive, so I do it a lot for
Does
him.
this look familiar to you?
Does that look like Starry Night? Well, Grant calls it Stars at
Oh,
Night. And
that's
as you
one of my favorites.
the puzzles that he uses,
Oh, fantastic.
greeting cards in the blue. This is lace from a shirt and just more and more puzzles. So again, every puzzle has a purpose. His new collection is called the Willow Tree Collection. This is what's going to put Grant on the map. Grant will tell you, never, never do you have to throw an art piece away again.
Never.
Because now he has found a way to teach kids and everyone to use puzzles.
Oh,
And
wow.
never throw them away.
That is
So in
so
the
beautiful.
beginning, Grant, let's go ahead and show them this. Grant would peel puzzles. That was his thing. In 2014, Grant started using puzzles. He was working on a puzzle butterfly and he wanted to use puzzles. And he doesn't have fingernails to do this, but he insisted on peeling puzzles. And that was Grant's claim to fame, how he was using puzzles. But now we know that people won't sit there and peel forever. So he came up with an idea of how we can use puzzles without peeling them, and that is the Willow Tree Collection.
Oh, wow. Also, again, connection. The willow tree is my favorite tree.
Oh.
So when you butterflies, willow tree, I'm like, wow. Okay.
And we just added the Willow Tree to his website. So it's the Willow Tree family. And we are going to be reaching out to corporations, to broadcast companies, to tell the story about this young man who has autism, survived cancer, never gave up, and is now teaching others how to reduce the landfill by recycling and creating trees. But it can go even further. Hearts made of puzzles. You never have to throw puzzles away. We throw a lot of puzzles away. So now we do not have to. So that is the art side. Then the book side. And I wanted to bring this, I think I'm going to bring this back into the public. I wrote this book when Grant was 9 years old. Dear Journal, I Have Autism. It's a resource book. And this was way before the software programs we have now. And I had already told Grant he had autism, and I needed a way to help him understand it and to help others. This is his handwriting.
Wow, beautiful handwriting.
Oh, yeah, that was always apparent that Grant had this beautiful handwriting. And we call it picture journaling because early on I taught, and then we have these pages in the back. So people who have this book, they can start picture journaling with their child. And it's also has opened up that conversation of, some child saying, well, I do this. Do I have autism? And that parent can say, well, let's talk about that. And it helps them to open up that line of conversation about having autism. It's called Dear Journal, I Have Autism. That one is on Amazon.
Okay.
Dear Journal, I Have Autism. So then here we were stuck in a hurricane again, stuck at home. So Grant's working on this piece. I have it here. Well, it's actually this one. It's a giraffe. His name is Grant. And Grant did not want to put spots on this giraffe. This is a big art piece as well. He wanted to put his jigsaw puzzles. And so after I had seen the whole piece, I begged Grant to let's call him Grant because it was a big, gentle giant.
And I said, okay.
Yes, Grant gave me permission to name one. I named him Grant. And then he started creating more and more animals.
Everything, all the animals, the pictures you see, all illustrated by me.
Yes, and he has a lot of original pieces. I'm going to show you a bigger. He has a lot of original pieces of these animals. Well, we have them hanging around the house, really. And I turned them into characters. This particular book is about autism. All my books have topics. This one is with our friend, Dr. Temple Grandin, and each one explains the ranges of autism. And this is what Temple calls the ranges. We don't call them what they used to call them, low and high odd function or low spectrum. She calls them full verbal abilities, partial verbal abilities, and non-verbal abilities. And the book explains the ranges by each animal as to, let me find it, as to the ranges that this particular group has. So
Mhm.
that is that one. And then people came to me and asked me if I would write about their child's story. And at first, it took me some time to figure this out. Where's Tori's? But I did. I started writing about other people, but I turned them into animals. And this one is Tori Struggles to Read. And like I said, it's about people we know. And they
Mm.
receive royalties from these books as well. But it's about, this one's dyslexia. This one is childhood cancer. This one is autism. This one, I was dared to write about the pandemic. This one's the pandemic, but I didn't want my animals to get sick. So I wrote the story. The animals were wondering, they go to the Dr. Mitchell and they ask Dr. Mitchell, where are all our people friends? The zoo was closed. And Dr. Mitchell was able to explain to them and to the children what was happening in the human world. So that's
Mm.
about the pandemic. And it was an interesting topic to write because kids were confused. They didn't know what was going on. They had emotions, they had questions. So that's what that book targets on. Then I just kept going. Now Grant is now going through cancer treatments. So somebody asked me if I'd write about him having cancer, and I did not want to, nor did I want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's a very hard subject. Go.
It's a sensitive topic. So I wrote about Grant, the eco-friendly artist. I wrote about his journey as what we were saying to you today, the shows that we did and have been doing. But it starts out about this little boy who loved his art and the anxieties that he had, but what we did with that, and then how Grant, and now mind you, Grant's the illustrator. Grant recycles.
Fantastic.
And how he uses clear glue is the secret sauce, by the way.
Right.
It's clear glue and puzzles. And that's what Grant's made. So that's our story. And then Goya Foods, who we worked with, stepped up and wrote it in Spanish.
Oh, wonderful.
So it's been an amazing journey. And next year I will have another one about a cat that we have. He's our actual cat. He doesn't have a tail. His name is Elliot. And this book will be about limb deficiency and employment for disabilities.
Oh, wonderful. That's a great topic.
Oh,
All
yeah, they all are. Because
yeah.
they used to be about people. Now it's about an animal that we actually own. And he was a homeless cat. And we brought him from Texas to Wisconsin. I said, I don't want another cat, but he was homeless. So, I wanted to help him. Now we find out he can do all kinds of tricks, and he's just a wonderful cat. He's a service cat. He's a therapy cat now. So he is amazing. This is what we do. And of course we have calendars, books, we do presentations, and of course we have our voices of inclusion.
Yes, which we want to talk about.
Yeah, so we call it our presentations. We now call them the voices of inclusion. And what that means is even though we come in and we do a presentation about our life and from when he was a toddler till now, there's the topic of professional voiceovers. Grant is a voiceover actor. So we wrote all these books, and we have a couple audio books of the animals in this book. We have friends with autism, we have friends with disabilities, we have friends with or not, and they have contributed their voices to our books. So we have 2 audio books at this time. Even Temple contributed her voice to our books, and we're on the journey of learning about voiceover as a profession and to get paid. And Grant leads the way. We are just starting out, but he does have a professional demo tape. This is the website. If you want to hear his voices, what kind?
I have a narration voice and I have character voices on this website.
Wonderful. Do you want to read the website out loud for our listeners? Certainly, it's very clear visually.
It's grantmanier.icanvoice.com.
Yeah, there's no www. It's grantmanier.icanvoice.com. and you will hear his voices. And you know what? I got scholarships for that too, because it cost about $4,000 to train him.
Oh yeah.
And then we got hit with COVID and things just, it just kept, it was on hold and it was on hold. Finally, then I got scholarships from the Doug Flutie Foundation. They helped Grant to buy equipment. Oh, and Cody Lee, he won the Cody Lee
right.
Award. And I bought his equipment and I bought his scholarship and we finished it. So now we feel the doors are opening up. As long as this world stays sane, we can do something with our young adults or young ones. I've had a 7-year-old, or our adults, and a potential of making some money, some employment.
It is so important that I want to dive deeper in. Probably are going to beg you to come back for another episode to maybe just talk about that, because it's such a big topic and it's such a real need.
We know they have the gift.
I
Yeah,
can hear it in their voices. And I'm just like, no, he would sound or she would sound so good for this character.
At
Or for
the
this type of character.
at the
Yeah.
studios where Grant works, called the Treffert Studios, they work on voiceover acting.
perfect. Yeah. And it's, again, such a big connection, because that's exactly what Joseph is interested in.
Ah,
Oh, really?
our ultimate goal, Bridget,
Yes.
is that why he's studying animation. We put all the puzzles together.
Yep.
Because Grant will animate Grant the Jigsaw Giraffe. I will negotiate this with networks with the caveat or hope that they use Grant's friends' voices to prepare the animation Cartoon Network
yes.
series.
I know I don't have any input, but if I did, I would say yes, absolutely.
It's like when
Yeah.
they wanted Grant to illustrate, he didn't want to illustrate. He didn't know how, but
Right.
they said, if Grant illustrates these books, it'll make the books more powerful, a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
And so that also helps his friends understand, hey, illustration is a way to go as well. It's hard with AI, but they are now teaching AI illustrations in college.
Oh,
It
wonderful.
helps. It does help. But to hear our friends' voices and for them to get paid, done my job.
Yes, I did this as a teacher, and I'm so excited about this, taking your gifts and your interests and doing that, right?
Passion.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, and
it's
our
all
kids,
about-
there's some amazing voices out there. And then they don't have to be afraid about being in front of a crowd. It's behind a microphone. And now you can do this stuff at home. Grant has his own little recording studio that he can travel with.
Oh.
So we have a lot of goals and objectives that we want to reach, but we're strong now. We just need the economy to stay strong.
Yes.
And we can travel and get out there and spread the word.
Well, you're both inspiring me. I'm like, wow, okay, I just think I'm doing a lot, but I'm really not after talking to you.
No.
We meditate a lot.
I'm just like, do you have any time to sleep is my question. Just kidding.
8 hours.
Yeah, that's just amazing. I want to know, how can moms empower, because this is what we're talking about, right? I feel it. How can moms empower their autistic children to thrive just like you have, Julie?
Well, first you need a network you need friends. I did not do this alone. It was my friends who kept guiding me to, hey, we think Grant might have what they call Asperger's. I'm like, oh no, he'll be fine. You read the article and somebody gave that to me. And then it was like, because remember, we came from when we hardly knew enough about autism. We were still learning. So have your group of friends. That's important because you need to talk to someone about this, especially I was going through a divorce and autism. So then we found the school. Oh my gosh, the school saved us. Now we know not everyone can afford a private school. I couldn't. I did it just working there. And then as time went on and his business started to grow, I would trade his art for tuition. So he finished a private school in high school, but I traded art and they raised lots of money with his art at their galas. So that's how I did it. Build a portfolio, as Temple would say.
Right.
I did not know that early on, so I didn't take those early on art pictures. This book itself does have pictures of Grant struggling with autism, and I did not know it was going to turn into a book. I actually took these pictures because my husband, my ex at the time, He wasn't in denial. He just didn't want to accept it. So
Mhm.
I took those pictures for that reason, but it turned into a book to help others. But yeah, just once you see a passion, we're adults. We know what to do with it. I saw him tearing, painting, coloring. He was not cutting yet because he didn't have the motor skills, but he could tear. He tore everything. He got in trouble. He was asked to stop, or for me to make him stop. But being a single mom, needing my nap, I gave him paper. I took a nap.
Right. You do what you have to.
Yeah, and he turned it in. He was trying to tell us all along what his passion could be. And thank goodness I did not suppress it. And that TV that he watched too much TV, and I did not like that either because I didn't want my girlfriends yelling at me, oh, children shouldn't watch TV. He's an actor. Because
Yes.
what you'll find is Grant never listens to music.
Mm-mm.
He would watch TV, the same thing for 100 times over and over, but I noticed he wasn't looking up at the TV. Yeah, well, he worked on his art. He just needed that noise. And so don't knock the TV unless it's really getting in the way. Grant's not a big gamer, but he plays games, but he knows when it's time to work. Create that portfolio, build that portfolio, take those pictures, enter them in contests, show the world what they can do.
It's not what you can't do that makes you different. It's what you can do that makes you more.
Oh, let's just absorb that. That was really good, Grant.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah. Grant, while I've got your attention from that powerful, powerful statement you just said, what is your advice for autistic people who want to pursue art as a career?
To start, figure out what type of art you're into. You can be painting or working with paper like I do, but there's also singing and photography, anything that's a form of art. That's one thing you want to start out with. The second step is to enter contests. By entering contests, no matter what place you're in, you will slowly build up your confidence to get your name out there. And finally, what my mom said, and my friend Dr. Temple Grandin said this too, is to make yourself a portfolio. Have your pictures in there, have your story in there, anything that you can put in there so that people can just sit and look through. They will get to know you more that way as well.
Even if you purchase an inexpensive website for $10 a month, put your story on there, because there are
Exactly.
going to be times somebody's going to want to see your artwork. And you just,
Yeah, yeah.
log it in.
And what do you think about social media?
Social media these days is a great way to get your name out there, and there are a lot of social medias now that you can do it. Back in the old days, and I'm talking about my old days, like the early
Not
2000s.
pointing at me, are you?
I wasn't pointing. I'm talking about in the old days, in the early 2000s, there wasn't as much social media as there is
Not at
now.
all.
But nowadays, you have like Twitter, or X, they call it now, Instagram, TikTok. You have all these social medias to work with.
Social media is nice, but speaking from experience, it does take time
It
for
does.
posting and videos. I like to suggest a website, $10 a month, $15 a month. It doesn't have to be these flashy professional websites. It could look like a newsletter. As
Mhm.
long as you have a place to send them. Social media is good if you have the time for posting and videos.
It also helps to have a business card as well. If you have a business or starting out an organization, having a business card to share a little bit of your information just to give to someone that you meet, that helps as well.
And we have new business cards being drawn up with QR codes,
That's right.
because the QR codes will send them to the website.
Ah, very smart.
That just happened. So see, guys, we're still evolving as well.
Always evolving, which is
Mhm.
great because it makes it really exciting to follow both of you because there's no telling what you two are going to come up with next. I know you gave some ideas, but what do you think? What's next for you on the horizon?
For me, it's continuing to study for my animation degree in college. I currently have my graphic communications degree, and I'm also going to continue working at the Triplet Studios, a studio that's for those on the spectrum like me to learn filming, video, editing, and of course voiceovering as well, and along with learning all the basics of life. That's
Mm,
for me.
that's great. That's a lot, Grant.
And of course, to add more to that, is also continue to help spread the awareness of special talents.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
beautiful.
given.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
when he used to write it, thank you for helping me raise the awareness of autism talents. He changed that after about a year. It's now special talents. So we raise the awareness of all disabilities, of all talents.
That's right.
I love that. That's so great, Grant. It's powerful.
Thank you.
You bet. Did you want to add anything, Mom?
What are we doing next?
Yeah.
Well, we are visiting with Temple Grandin in a couple weeks because we are filming a segment with Temple Grant and I. I can't go into details, but let's just say Museum Hall of Fame.
Oh gosh, drum roll. That's
And
pretty
there's some
exciting.
big names involved. And so we are on the beginning stages of this, and Grant and I will be inducted, mainly Grant.
Come on. I wouldn't be where I am today without my mom.
Oh, that is so like you two. I love you both. You're so
Wasn't we always tell Grant, I used to tell Grant, you can't do it without this brain. And he
You
say,
can't do it out of this.
without this
that's
face.
right, buddy.
So yeah, God knew what was supposed to happen here.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Very much so. Yeah, we've been blessed. We've been blessed. We're excited to share our story and to find voices and to find artists and to tell them how we did it.
And there's going to be a great response and interest. But before we get into all of that, where folks can find you two, I would like to ask you, Julie, what is your advice for moms raising kids on the spectrum?
I can only give the advice of a single mom, and it would be, again, don't do it alone. Find your friends, find your network, take time for yourself, take care of yourself. It's like put the air mask on first.
Yes.
Take care of yourself, take care of your health, because, I do let Grant know I won't always be here, Grant. So I've got to make sure you're prepared, you're ready. Get your trusts in order, get your life insurance in order. As a single mom,
Mhm.
this is what I had to do, because we know things can happen in a nanosecond, and I want to make sure Grant's okay. The network is there, the connection is there. I'm so glad we're in a small town. That was always my goal. Houston it's just way too big for our kids. And now he can drive from here to A to B. He can drive from point A to point B. If he has to go further, he could take the cab service. We don't have Uber, we have cabs. So he's learning to be independent. And that is my goal, is that Grant is independent. We are actually thinking about buying a duplex so that Grant has his own house and I have my own house, because we got to work together, and I don't want to have to, trace across town to find him. And so again, that's an investment property. I want to teach him about investments, which is what I teach my boys about: silver, gold, and investments. That's my journey as a single mom, what I am doing for my boys, because I know I won't always be here.
Yes, as I coach parents and moms in particular, that is the main thing that comes up in every single conversation that I have is, what do I do? Basically, you think to yourself, I cannot leave this earth just yet. Not ready.
Mm-mm.
Not ready,
I
right?
think even when I'm ready, I still don't want to leave him, because there's going to be something else I may have forgotten,
I
but
know.
at least have ABC taken care of.
Right. And we get there, and it's one small step at a time. And just, take a deep breath and know all is well in this moment is what I say. Right now in this moment, all is well.
That's
All
right.
is good. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else either of you would like to mention before we go?
Boy, we've touched a lot of topics here. I think it was wonderful. No, we just are encouraged about the future. I am, as his mother. We've worked hard. And like I said, when he had cancer, I didn't know if I was walking in the memory of Grant or if I was going to still continue to walk with Grant. Now that I've been given that second chance and Grant as well, we're not going to be as shy as we used to be.
Oh, no.
No. I mean, I'm not even the kind that says, please follow and like, please follow and like. Now I'm going to say, please follow, like, and share.
There you go. There you go. Please like, follow, and share.
Right. I'm getting better.
Yes, it's like what we've been talking about. It is how we evolve from our life experiences. And I know this episode, our listeners and also those viewing on YouTube channel are going to want to know how they can connect with you. We'll also share your information, but for this moment, would you like to share that?
You go, Grant.
course, if you can find me on social media under Jigsaw Grant, and you can also find me on my website, Jigsaw like a puzzle, jigsawgrant.com.
Perfect. Oh, yes. Thank you for that visual. Those really do help all of us. And I want to thank you again for being on Mother's Guide Through Autism podcast. You both are fabulous. I am one of your fans now, so
Oh,
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Follow, like, and share.
That's right.
Yeah, follow, like, and share. But honestly, thank you. And I really do hope that you will consider coming back and we can hit another, topic or whatever project that you're working on, because I know you're going to have this as an ongoing part of your business and your life. So hope you come back.
Yep, I'll keep you posted and we'll let y'all know what's going on and the big museum announcement coming soon.
Ooh, that's so
For all
exciting.
of us, for all of us. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for this opportunity and thank you for doing what you do for your son and for our kids
my
Thank you
honor,
very
and
much.
families.
my honor, as always. If you enjoyed this episode of Mother's Guide Through Autism podcast, please like and share our podcast YouTube channel, because our goal is to get to as many people as we can to spread our knowledge, hope, and our inspiration. I'll see you in the next episode.